Today, the mastermind of this day of sheer evil is no more. Yahya Sinwar is dead. He was killed in Rafah by the brave soldiers of the Israel Defense Forces. While this is not the end of the war in Gaza, it's the beginning of the end. To the people of Gaza, I have a simple message. This war can end tomorrow. It can end if Hamas lays down its arms and returns our hostages. Hamas is holding 101 hostages in Gaza, who are citizens of 23 countries, citizens of Israel, but citizens of many other countries. Israel is committed to doing everything in our power to bring all of them home. And Israel will guarantee the safety of all those who return our hostages. But to those who would harm our hostages, I have another message. Israel will hunt you down and bring you to justice. The axis of terror that was built by Iran is collapsing before our eyes. Nasrallah is gone. His deputy Muhsin is gone. Haniyeh is gone. Def is gone. Sinwar is gone. The reign of terror that the Iranian regime has imposed on its own people and on the peoples of Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and Yemen, this too will come to an end. All those who seek a future of prosperity and peace in the Middle East should unite to build a better future. Together, we can push back the forces of darkness and create a future of light and hope for all of us.
יחיא סינואר התחבא במרחב שכוחותינו חיתרו לאורך תקופה ארוכה. אנחנו לא ידענו שהוא שם, אבל המשכנו לפעול בנחישות. אמש הכוחות זיהו 3 מחבלים, בורחים מבית לבית במנוסה. כוחות בית הספר לחיר שהיו במרחב חתרו למגע ותקפו את המחבלים שהתפצלו ביניהם לאחר שנורו. יחיא סינואר ברח לבדו לאחד המבנים. עם המחבלים שחיסלנו לא היו חטופים. הכוחות צורקים כעת במרחב. הכוחות בשטח נוהגים בזהירות המתבקשת לשמירה על ביטחון כוחותינו. Our work is not done. We will not rest until we bring home all our hostages by any means. And we will continue to operate until we complete all our missions in defense of the people of Israel.
Aujourd'hui est marqué par la mort de Yahya Sinwar. Et ce jour est un tournant en même temps qu'un succès militaire pour Israël. Je pense, en le disant, aux familles du 7 octobre. Cette occasion doit être saisie pour que tous les otages puissent être libérés et pour que la guerre soit enfin arrêtée. Il faut en effet mettre fin aux opérations militaires. Désormais, après ce résultat, accepter le cessez-le-feu à Gaza et ouvrir enfin une perspective politique crédible pour les Israéliens comme pour les Palestiniens. Nous y travaillons avec tous nos partenaires, israéliens, arabes, américains. Au jour d'après la guerre à Gaza, il faudra donner à Israël des garanties solides pour sa sécurité, réformer l'autorité palestinienne et avancer vers la solution des 2 États. Dans l'immédiat, il faut un cessez-le-feu à Gaza. Il faut urgemment multiplier les opérations humanitaires qui sont aujourd'hui à leur point le plus bas et avancer en effet pour que cessent aussi les violences perpétrées par les colons contre les Palestiniens en Cisjordanie. Il revient au Premier ministre Netanyahu d'agir et d'entendre ce que lui disent la France et tous ceux qui sont sincèrement attachés à la sécurité d'Israël.
And then on Sinwar, of course, he is widely recognized as the architect of the 7th of October 2023 terrorist attacks on Israel. I have condemned them, all allies have condemned them, every reasonable soul in the world has condemned them. So if he has died, I personally will not miss him.
Sinwar was the leader of a terrorist organization, the terrorist organization of Hamas, and he was basically the mastermind behind the 7th of October with the killings, the massacres, the rapes, and the kidnapping. So his death is certainly significantly weakening Hamas. Around the table, we also discussed the conditions for a durable peace leading to a 2-state solution. And let me stress in particular one very important point. This lasting peace and a two-state solution can only be achieved with a stable, a strong and a reformed Palestinian Authority. As you know, the European Commission is working towards this goal. We have already a €400 million emergency support package that is in place since July. It supports at the moment being the payment of salaries or, for example, pensions or the provisions of basic services in the West Bank. But for us it's important that we can not only disperse an outstanding amount of €110 million later this year, but that we have a mid- and long-term support plan for the Palestinian Authority in place. And we are accompanying Ukraine on its path to the European Union accession. Let me focus one moment on this point. We had the first intergovernmental conference in June, so Ukraine took a huge step forward. The bilateral screening process is now ongoing, and in parallel, we have the Ukraine plan that includes crucial reforms for this accession path, and it is supported by the 50 billion in the Ukraine plan that are delivered on the achievement on reforms. So it is a 50 billion investment over 4 years, 2024 to 2027. And we see a lot of progress. Thanks to this progress, we have already dispersed over 12 billion euros, and we expect another tranche to be dispersed before the end of the year. So there is good progress.
It's a good day for the world. I saw Netanyahu to congratulate him getting Sinwar. He has a lot of blood in his hands. American blood, Israeli blood, and others. And I told him that we were really pleased with his actions. And further that now's the time to move on. Move toward a ceasefire in Gaza. Make sure that we move in the direction that we're going to be in a position to make things better for the whole world. It's time for this war to end and bring these hostages home. So that's what we're ready to do. That's what we're going to do. And I'm sending Tony Blinken to Israel. I guess he's going in 4 days. 4 or 5 days. Yeah, he's going. I talked with Judy about that. We're going to work out what is the day after that. How do we ensure Gaza move on? Thank you very much.
Do you feel more presidential about a ceasefire?
As you saw from our readout earlier today, Secretary Austin spoke earlier today with Israeli Minister of Defense Gallant to discuss the reports on the killing of Sinwar and to get an update. I would highlight that when the call occurred, the IDF was still working to confirm Sinwar's death. During the call, Secretary Austin also reaffirmed U.S. support for Israel's right to defend itself and reiterated that the deployment of the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense Battery represents the United States' unwavering, enduring, and ironclad commitment to Israel's security.
Thank you, General. In President's statement, he used a very active language.
The short answer is no, this was an Israeli operation. U.S. forces were not directly involved. Again, as we've highlighted, we've had a small number of special operations forces that have been advising the Israelis on hostage recovery efforts. And again, as the President's statement highlighted, that included working side by side with their Israeli counterparts to help locate and track Sinwar and other Hamas leaders hiding in Gaza who've been holding people, to include Americans, hostage since October 7 last year.
This happened.
Again, I'm not going to get into intelligence. What I'm telling you is this was an Israeli operation and that we've been sharing information and intelligence in support of hostage recovery efforts and the tracking of these leaders who have been holding hostages, to include Americans. And so, in so much as it's helped to inform Israeli operations in general, writ large, certainly it has played a role. But in terms of this particular what happened today or last night, again,
it's an important question.
As we sort of look forward to Israel's future, you said, the flow of humanitarian aid is important for it to resume.
But again, this was an Israeli operation, and I would refer you to them to talk about the details of how the operation went down.
Mentioning Osama bin Laden's death as well, So it sounds like the U.S. sees this.
Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it.